Hi, how's it going? I just wanted to show you what I do to wake up these batteries and the BMSs. The BMS is in here. It's been the battery's been run flat. It's gone flatter than the BMS can handle. So the BMS is switched off and it's saying that there's no battery. There is a bit of power in there. If you plug it on, you can see it reaches, I'd say, 28 volts. But if you try and charge it, see the amps come up and then they drop again, and this goes up to 40 volts. The actual power supply is on 40 volts. We can make it on, put it up to 42, but if I put the battery on, it doesn't charge. It's not pulling amps, and that stays on 40. So now this is just for the BMS to wake up. There's 4 screws here. There's 2 types of batteries, but I'll show you both of them. So there's 4 screws. Simply pop off. And a bit of tape there sometimes, some cloth tape. That's the inside of the battery. Now I just want to see if you can see that. Yes, you can. Now you open up this side, the side where the wires are going in, and that's where your positives and negatives are connected. This wire here is connected directly from my negative of my power supply. It's still plugged in, but it's directly to the negative of my power supply. So I've got an extra negative here. I take this negative and I touch it onto, I just want to make sure that everything's out of the way. I touch it onto this terminal over here. That terminal over there is the permanent terminal, the permanent negative, the proper negative of the battery. It's not going through the BMS. Here's the BMS board. It's not going through the BMS. It's going directly to the battery. Now watch what happens with my amps and my voltage. When I touch this wire, the negative, the BMS cuts the negative. The BMS doesn't cut the positive, it only cuts the negative. So watch when I touch this wire to the negative. I'm giving it a negative and I'm bypassing the BMS. So touch it there, there we go. Straight up, the amps come to 1 amp and the volts drop, you can see that. Now if I take this wire off, it stays like that. So now this BMS is charging. There's the actual volts of the BMS, and it's charging at 1 amp at the moment. This power supply, I put it to 1 amp so that I charge all these batteries at 1 amp, so that if there's any problems or if they're heating up or anything like that, I can notice it. I'm not pumping 5 amps into them and then maybe damaging them. So when they get to this state and I've got my current limiter light on and it's pulling 1 amp and it's showing that the voltage is dropped, so my power supply was giving 40. There's what my power supply is giving out. I've just unplugged it from here. There's what my power supply is giving out, and that's what the battery's got up to already. So if I put my power supply in now, it immediately starts pulling amps because the BMS has now enough voltage to think that the battery is okay. And the battery is okay, the BMS is just simply turned off. Then after that stage, I simply should close it up, and I put that screw, or put the screws back in again, and then I leave it until it's got its full charge. Its full charge is 42 volts. So now that battery's good and ready to charge, or not ready to charge, and charging. So I'd leave it like this in this state now until I've at least got a 40 volt charge. I go up to 40 volts and then I would do the next pack. And I keep them all in like a 40 volt state or charge, so that I can next time I can just plug them in and they're charging. They won't lose their charge again. They don't lose their charge. So once you got them up to 40 volts, you can leave them for a couple of months and they'll stay at that 40 volts. So this one's busy charging now. This one's good. You can see as I plug it in, it starts charging. Now I'll take another one. This is your power over there behind me. Put that one on top there. I'll take another one from your pile, plug it in, and immediately it starts charging. It's on 40 volts already. There's my voltage. There's my voltage of my, if I turn the power supply off, now everything's off. This is the voltage of the battery. So the battery is already on 38 volts or something. Turn the power supply on, it starts giving it amps. It likes that. It's giving it half an amp. The BMS decides how much it wants to take. Then I can turn up the voltage here, nothing changes. The battery is almost full. So that's that one taken care of, and I won't do anything else to that if I was you. I'm just looking for another one that's also voltage low. Okay, that one, you see it started charging and then it dropped off immediately. So right now it's not charging. It's not charging. So I do exactly the same thing. I grab the screwdriver. Now this is exactly the same, and I'll just do this one more, and then I'll move on to the next pack, and then you can see how that one's done. But it's exactly the same system. I mean, it's not very difficult. And now that these packs are, the BMS on the pack is woken up, it will now accept a charge readily. So I can just open that up. I don't even have to take the last screw out. Peel that back a bit, and once again you can watch the volts. You see it's up on 40 volts because the BMS isn't doing anything. So now I can take that and I can touch it. I'll try to get it so that you can still see the camera. Touch it onto that. You see the voltage and the amps. The voltage has gone down, the amps gone up. Take it away and it stays like that. Now it is charging. So if I leave it for not very long, a couple of seconds, it's already accepted its charge, or not accepted its charge, it's already gone to the 36 volt range. I can now unplug it, plug it back in, and it will carry on charging. So this is, all of these packs are in this state that they just under voltage for the BMS to charge them. So we have to wake them up by bypassing the negative. The BMS only cuts the negative. So this battery now is charging on 38 volts and pretty good, and I would have normally left it on for about half an hour. Now this is the other pack. There's only 3 of them. This pack is also exactly the same thing. Plug it in. Oh, you see it jumped up and it went down. Now this pack, you simply take a flat screwdriver, you pry at these little things on the side here, little clips, and they open very easily. And this one, the BMS is sitting on the side. But once again, it's exactly the same thing. Side BMS instead of that board over there. But if you tear this open a bit, I'll leave this torn open. Your negative, you can see there goes the positive, and there goes the main negative from the battery. The negative's over here now. So that's the only difference. The negative comes in, gets broken. Oh no, sorry, it's the top one. You can just follow the wires through the BMS. It's that one over there. So there's your positive going in and your negative going into the battery itself. So this one's not doing its charge as the same. Take that, touch that to the negative, and there it, just for a couple of seconds, there it's gone up, and there it's, you see it even dropped down to 20. That's what voltage this battery had in. And there it starts climbing, and it's taking its 1 amp. I kind of just close this up again, put that back onto the battery, and we over away with this battery. Now you close it up, and now this battery is charging. So you go through all the batteries like this. It takes a little bit of time. The normal power supply I got off my battery, guys, is this little yoke over here, but something went wrong inside. I think it's that transistor, and it only charges at 500 milliamps. So I use this as well to charge batteries. When I've got a whole bunch of them I'm going through, I'll wake them up here and then I'll move them over to this charger to slowly charge them. So I believe that the slower you charge them, 1 amp is fine. You can charge them at 20 amps, but if you charge them at 1 amp, you reduce the risk of maybe them catching fire or something like that. While I'm busy charging them, I'll come periodically and just put my hand on the battery pack, feel if it's getting hot. They get warm, they definitely get warm, but they don't get too hot to touch. And that's it. That's how you wake them up. Now if you've woken them all up, I found that if you're going to put them on something like an e-scooter or something like that, one of the BMSs alone doesn't do the job. It quits out. I put it on a 500 watt scooter, and one of them, one battery, wouldn't do the job because the BMS didn't like the amperage. So I put 2 of them together in parallel, and then it worked perfectly. So if you put 5 of them in parallel, you'll get a 36 volt really powerful battery. Right, I'm not sure what you want to use them for, but yeah, whatever you use them for, you must send me pictures. I want to see. Like a dude, thank you.